So in this video I'm going to tell you about the blueprint of 12th standard max blueprint Karnataka board 2022 and 2023. So from relation and function, that is first chapter. From this, in part A, 1 marks you will get 1 question, 1 marks MCQ, 1 question for 1 marks. So totally 2 marks for part A from this chapter. And from part B, for 2 marks question, 1 question 2 marks, 1 question you will get. And part C, for 3 marks 1 question you will get. Part D, for 5 marks 1 question you will get. So totally 12 marks you will get from this chapter. Second chapter, that is inverse trigonometric functions. From this chapter, 1 marks as MP, 1 question for 1 marks MCQ you will get, or 2 questions for 2 marks you will get, 1 question for 3 marks you will get. Totally you will get 8 marks from this chapter. And next, that is chapter 3, that is matrices. From this chapter you will get 1 question for 1 marks and 1 question for 3 marks and 1 question for 5 marks. Total it is 9 marks you will get from this chapter. Next, that is determinants. From this chapter you will get 1 question for 1 marks, 1 question for 1 marks and 1 question for 2 marks and 1 question for 5 marks and 1 question for 4 marks in part A, 6 and 4 that you will get. And in continuity and differentiability chapter you will get 1 question for 1 marks MCQ, 1 question for 1 marks and 2 question for 2 marks you will get, and 2 question for 3 marks you will get, and 1 question for 5 marks you will get, and 1 question for 4 marks you will get. Totally 21 marks you will get from this chapter. And from applications of derivatives, from this chapter you will get 1 question for 1 marks, 1 question for 2 marks, 1 question for 3 marks, 1 question for 5 marks. Totally you will get 11 marks. And integrals, from this chapter you will get 1 question for MCQ, 1 question for 1 marks, 1 question for 2 questions for 2 marks, 2 question for 3 marks, 1 question for 5 marks and 1 question for 6 marks. Totally 23 marks you are getting from this chapter. From applications of integrals you are getting 1 question for 3 marks, 1 question for 5 marks. Totally you are getting 8 marks from this chapter. Next is differential into equations. 1 question for 1 mark, 1 question for 2 marks, 1 question for 3 marks and 1 question for 5 marks. Totally you are getting 11 marks from this chapter. And from vector algebra you are getting 1 question for 1 marks MCQ, 1 question for 1 marks, 2 question for 2 marks and 2 question for 3 marks. Totally you are getting 12 marks from this chapter. And from 3-dimensional geometry you are getting 1 question as MCQ, 1 question for 1 marks, 1 question for 2 marks, 1 question for 3 marks and 1 question for 5 marks. Totally 12 marks you are getting from this chapter. And linear programming you are getting 1 question for 6 marks, as you know, 1 question for 1 marks MCQ, 1 question for 1 marks. Totally you are getting 8 marks. In probability chapter you are getting 1 question for 1 marks MCQ, 1 question for 1 marks, 1 question for 2 marks, 1 question for 3 marks and 1 question for 5 marks. Totally 12 marks you are getting from this chapter. So totally 1 mark MCQ you are getting 10 marks, 1 marks MCQ answer following you are getting 10 marks, 2 marks you are getting 14 marks, 3 marks you are getting 14 marks, 5 marks you are getting 10 marks from this 10 questions you are getting. And in 6 marks you are getting 2 questions, and in 6 marks and in 4 marks you are getting 2 questions. So totally you are getting 160 marks, total marks. If you calculate 160 marks in this, you have to try the passing package. If you have to discuss, the easiest where you can get easy marks is linear programming graph. They will give 6 marks. So practice that graph 6 marks. You will definitely get easily that 6 marks. Then you can try 9 marks from matrix. Matrix is a easy chapter. If you try very hard and very well, if you practice matrices chapter, you can easily score 9 marks from the matrix chapter. And um, another is determinants. Also, it is also easy chapter. You can try for 8 to 10 marks. 8 to 10 marks in matrix. In determinants you can try, and matrix is also easy chapter. You can try for 5 to 7 marks. So let us take it as 5 here. 8 to 10, 8 marks let us take. Here 6 marks let us take. Total it is 14 plus 5, 19 marks. Another 2 marks you need. So in this easy chapter you can think is try, that is probability. You can try for passing student. It is not that much difficult chapter. So this also you can try if you practice probability chapter. Many important question are there in that probability chapter. Is revised some years. So when I share you the important questions of 12th standard max or other max subject, that time you will get which are the important questions of this chapter. So okay, so these are the things passing package you can try. So from matrix, determinants, and from linear programming, if you means if you get 9 marks, 13 marks, and 6 marks here only, you are passed. You will get 13 plus 9, 22, and 6, 28. You are very passed. So okay friends, try very well. See you in my next video. If you like, if you think my video is helpful to you, please give a like. Please do comments if you want any help in studies, and please share my video with your friends so that it may helpful for them also. So this is the passing package which you can get 28 marks from this you pass easily. If you try or to get 9, 13, and 8 marks, I mean 6 marks also, if you get here you are passed. Means 9, 13 if you get, you will get definitely just pass. So try to passing student who want passing marks. For them I am saying, if you study these both matrices and determinant chapter, and if you do it sums very well, you can do get passing marks. And 6 marks, that is graph, you can try. So friends, in next video, till then take care, have a nice day, bye my dear friends.